Shot time, shot time. Hey.
Welcome to Side Streets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. I am your host, Angela Champ, and with me is my co-host, my sidekick, and no other than my daughter, Erica Ava A. Lynn.
Hello.
We're so glad that you are joining in on this evening as we wrap up. We got a lot of feedback on last week concerning the subject matter on online dating, the pros and cons, and we also had an who came onto the show and who also discussed the perils that he had encountered when meeting someone online. According to Statista, which is an online dating survey, it is estimated that more than 50 million people use online sites to seek
Sorry.
love, and also that more than 24% they use the app for hookups, and more than 84% use the site to actually find love. So once again, respective to, we understand that we live in a microwave society of instant gratification. And we do understand that people are, having to find alternative means of seeking love. But what happens when seeking love puts you in the line of fire? What do you do? So what is your take? What did you think about the show on last week?
Well, as I said, with my own personal experience dating online, I never really had, a standout issue. When you take a certain risk when you decide to meet random people who you've never met online. You take a risk. There's a risk in indulging in conversation or indulging in any interaction with some new person. But I've never had an extreme, situation such as what's his name, Desmond. I've never had such an extreme situation such as that. However, I think that in any mode or medium, you can always find what you're looking for. You just have to do your due diligence. You just have to make sure that you're looking out for yourself above all others at this point.
So how do you then determine? You said you have to do your due diligence.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when you think you've done your due diligence, and kind of walk me through the process of that? Can you kind of give us a visual of what that would look like in terms of doing your due diligence? Because a lot of people are not going to go through the perhaps the extensive process of doing a background check. People still want to.
I mean, I've never had to go as far as doing an actual background check. I've never done that. What I did do was, like I said, I meet certain people, profile, we match. I've never done the Tinder thing. This is, before Tinder and the swiping and the. I did OK Cupid, Plenty of Fish, Badu, maybe a few others. Seeking arrangement, hey, okay. But at the same time, I mean, it is what it is. But basically, you have to be aware of, you have to put yourself in a mindset that people are creeps and crazy and weirdos. So you have to be like, what can I do to, assess and make sure this person is on the same level that I'm on and the same things that I want.
Now, according to an online survey called Statista, more than 50 million people, and that's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people. It's just in this country.
50 million people use online dating sites. And of that 50 million, let's kind of just break down some of the numbers. That more than 43%, they look to find some type of friend. 24% used online sites for hookups, and more than 84% look because
for love.
They look for love. So that's a staggering number. That is a staggering number.
Well,
over 84%.
84% of how many million people?
Of 50 million people. But that's still
that's lots of millions of people.
That
says a lot. That says a lot
desperate?
To our actual society at this point, where people feel like they can't meet someone organically and they have to go search for them online. That says a lot to our current state of society. However, at the end of the day,
our current state of mental instability. I mean, would you agree that since we've gotten away from the traditional way of meeting people, that that says something for our lack of mental stability? Is there instability? Because
I
we
don't think that that speaks to in any type of instability necessarily. I think that it speaks to a
Hey Ken, hey
larger sense of
Brandon.
insecurity that we all have, where we can't approach someone directly on the street. We have to go, look for them online.
Wow, we're gonna take a musical break.
Our cameras just fell.
I see you, baby. Get your shine on. Get your glow up. One time. For the babies on the south side.
Welcome to Side Streets and Intersections. Ladies and gentlemen, we lost our cameras, and so we had to get them back. So we do want to apologize for the Facebook. We want to apologize for the interruption, because getting back to the subject matter on this evening, we're doing a wrap-up from last week's subject matter, which is seeking love and alternative means. And that according to Statista, which is an online survey that does surveys respective to understanding the mindset of people looking for love. And it is estimated that more than 50 million people use online sites such as Tinder and Match.com and Christian Mingle, and that of that 50 million people, 84% are looking for love. More than 24% are looking to hook up, and 43% are looking for friendships. That is staggering, and those numbers are alarming.
Well, my first thing is, if it's a they have individual sites for hookups versus dating versus long-term matrimony situations. They do have individual sites for these different purposes.
Okay.
So you have to. There are some people throwing their eggs in one basket. There are some people throwing all the eggs everywhere they can throw them, and you're going to get a large number of people who are not what you want. Once again, it comes back to me saying about due diligence. You have to do your research on anyone that you don't know, anyone that you do know. I mean, let's be honest. We have people who we're next to day and night, at work or whatever, and you think this person, their friend, or your cordial, or your whatever you may be, but then you find out this person is extreme case, a serial killer or something like that. You never really know people's motives and things of that nature.
Well, I mean, taking the instance myself, having dated someone online, and we wound up living together, and when I realized that the relationship was over with because he was not who he was trying to live off, the reputation of his uncle, who is well known throughout the world, and so he was trying to live through him, but he didn't want to do the work himself. Moving forward, after about a year, we broke up because and he was jealous of our relationship.
Everybody that you deal with is crazy. That means you gotta start doing some research and some due diligence.
Well, you know what?
But no, the thing about online dating is more so of a convenience. A lot of us at this point, because we're so busy with our work lives or whatever it may be, we don't actually have the time to go out and peruse the crowds at the bar or whatever it may be. We don't have the time. So it's a matter of convenience. And
so you're saying that you're going to compromise your safety for something that is viewed as convenience?
Not at all. Like, you should never compromise your own safety. Like, just as you would be, aware, or you should be aware if you're meeting a person, you're going on a first date, that's someone you met at the club or someone you met at work or whatever, you don't know this person outside of this particular circumstance. So you do have to still do that same researching to find out about that individual. None of these modes protect you from someone being a dangerous person. You just definitely have to look, at the
Chris
signs.
He's back. Chris says,
hey, how you doing? How you doing?
Hey, Chris, he's back.
You have to look at the signs, of what you want, not be full, not be desperate and thirsty, and, just do the best for yourself. Meaning, like I said, I've never personally done a background check on someone I was dating. I didn't feel the need to,
Well, I've done background checks on people, and then
Really, tell me about that. How do you do a background check, and what leads you? Is it you're doing one on everybody, or is it that you are just something that gives you a red flag and you're like, let me look into this person?
Well, no, I think particularly for me, after I've not had the best in terms of deciding who was good for me in terms of my life. So, and I think, to be honest with you, I think that having been in the arena of law enforcement in the realm in which I operated, I think that, and over 18 years, seeing how people were lying, like a lot of women would come to the jail thinking that they were meeting this Mr. Nice Guy, and in fact, this guy was a pedophile, or he had murdered several people, but he didn't say anything about that. Okay. So that kind of gave me a heightened a reason to do. Hold on for a second. Okay. Gave me a reason to do the background check. And so,
so
it was a basic. Experience. It's a basic background check that I would do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it still didn't work.
But see, the thing about it, you can do background checks. You can do a lot of different things. A background check doesn't necessarily exclude someone from being like a crazy person. It's not a definitive measure of whether or not you are someone that can deal with me or I can deal with you.
Absolutely.
What you have to do is, this is what I do. I have rubric. You got to take it back to school. You have a rubric.
So you have an algorithm.
Not an algorithm. I call it a rubric because it's basic.
Oh, it's a rubric.
It's just she done win. A few categories that you should fit into.
You speaking
things that you say now. And things that you do should fall in line with the person thing.
Okay.
All right. So if you have this sort of career, logic says if you say you're doing this kind of thing and you do this kind of thing, and this is your daily existence, and you work in this particular environment, I would expect a certain kind of person
absolutely
to be able to thrive in that environment.
Absolutely.
So I can exclude certain negative things because if you had these qualities, you would not be able to do this particular thing.
But listen, I met people in the regular realm. People said they were architects and they weren't drawing anything.
Well, if you're an architect, show me a blueprint. What you talking about?
They wasn't bonded.
Okay, we talking about sirs, Mr. Men with briefcases full of Lunchables. How you gonna be an architect but you opening doors? I'm confused.
It doesn't make any sense.
But that's up to you, as I said. That's up to you. Mm-hmm. To be completely honest, I've never been bamboozled by someone I met online. Everybody who I met online, they were who they said they were.
Okay.
To the point that I was surprised. And I'm like, oh, really? Well, hello. I done lucked up. I done hit the jackpot in this situation. Granted, I wasn't ready for that situation, which is why I'm no longer in that situation. How about that? But, you got to accept your faults. But at the end of the day, if you have a certain standard, if you know that this person, okay.
So, in other words, you're not going to exchange chiclets for Lunchables.
I truly have no idea what that. Hey, babes, how you doing? Chiclets I truly have no idea what that has to do with what I'm saying. I don't understand that analogy whatsoever. Okay. Online dating, though. All right. But like I said, I never had the issue. I've always been lucky in the sense that the people who I met were the people who they said they were.
And that's wonderful for you. But statistically speaking, I would say that.
I don't think it's statistically anything. I think it's more so people not being honest about what they want. They just looking at a picture and a face and, okay, well, this person gave me some attention, so I'm going to go ahead and go follow through it. That's not okay.
It's interesting. When we talk about online dating, a lot of times in our not even quiet hour.
What is the worst thing that can come about from you online dating someone? What is worse than online dating someone than meeting a random person and they turn out to be crazy too? What's the big difference? There's no difference really there.
Well, I think that for me,
I don't think so.
So there is a concept, psychologist, a sociologist by the name of Erwin Goffman. And I think I talked about this 1959. He talked about the presentation of self in everyday life.
Okay.
And pretty much what people can
Preservation of self or
No,
presentation of self?
listen, presentation of self in
Okay.
everyday
Making
life.
sure.
And what he says is that it's like acts. There's a forefront, and then there's the back, the front stage and the backstage.
Mm-hmm.
And so people use the online. And so what I'm trying to do is tie it in. Actually, as part of my dissertation, what people do is they try to take and create these personalities or personas, and they tie it in with the online dating because they can pretend to be somebody who they're not.
Right.
Okay. And so now they have this inflated sense of ego persona. And then when you meet them, you know, like for example, I've had people inbox me,
Mm-hmm.
and usually you can tell with certain keywords if they say that they're not who they are. Like I had an individual inbox me and says, "Oh, you're beautiful." Okay, thank you. But do you? And so my response was, "So do you do this every time you see a woman you randomly inbox and say she's beautiful?"
I mean, okay, well, in that instance, is that someone that you had spoken to before?
No, I didn't even know this person.
You know what? That was it on Facebook?
Girl, yeah, it was on
Girl,
Facebook.
no, okay. So people on Facebook have this tendency, random guys have a tendency to inbox women they don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so sexy. I mean, I'm speaking in an accent because they normally be from like overseas somewhere. Like I get a bunch of random people from, I don't know, Nigeria and India and Pakistan. Oh, you're beautiful. Send me sexy pictures. What the? Who are you and where'd you come from? My thing is, if it's unsolicited, if we've never, like, first of all, if a person does not inbox you with respect,
absolutely, that is a telltale
this
sign.
is a telltale sign. If they're not hitting you up at a certain particular hours when people are awake and living up, if you're messaging me at 3, 4, 5 in the morning,
absolutely,
clearly you got something going on,
absolutely,
or you're just crazy because clearly I'm not going to be able to respond to you if I'm a normal person with a normal life. I can't respond to you at 3, 4, 5 in the morning because I'm asleep.
Absolutely, and it was so you know, getting back to those statistics, you know, you think about the millions of people that
people want to be in love. People want to be. People want to be hugged and held.
And we live in a society now where people don't get the inability to thrive because they've not gotten hugs as children. And so
look, if you want to get no hugs as children and you 40, 50 years old and you still dwelling on that, baby, let me tell you something. You need to get it together. Okay.
All right. So anyway,
that's enough. No.
So anyway,
if you know what? 50 years later, you still dwelling on what you didn't get from your mama.
But listen to this.
You need some therapy.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Facts.
But it's facts. However, ladies and gentlemen, I failed to say, welcome again on this.
Welcome
to Sky Streets Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. And if you're looking for an opportunity to host your own show here at IntellectualRadio.com, please do not hesitate to call 708-223-8953.
Bae says people try to live out their fantasy and be that which they can't be in real life because they're not happy with themselves. And that is a fact.
So that goes back to me quoting or citing Erwin Goffman's 1959 presentation of self in everyday life, where people try to create these characters, okay, to give them the persona that they are somebody who they're not. And we see that every day.
That happens everywhere. People are like, they're, speaking in online dating, just that, not necessarily. Like overall, majority of people, I can only speak for us Americans because I am one. The majority of people here, we are in competition with random people. Yes, with people who we don't know. Absolutely. Our society teaches us, okay, go get your education, go have the best credit, go get the biggest house, get the best job so you can be better than everyone else.
Absolutely.
Not that I'm a socialist because I'm not. But, our main goal in society from we taught as children to be in competition with other people. So if you feel like you're lacking, some people don't have that grounded sense of self where they're okay with themselves. They feel that they're lacking. They have to make these online personas to be someone else.
Now I'm going to make a statement. I've not done the statistical research, but I'm going to make a statement because I believe that it holds great weight.
Okay.
And you talked on the subject matter just a few minutes ago regarding how America pretty much tries to inundate you with get a job, get education, do this.
Mm-hmm.
But you will find out that the majority of these educated people, and I have to include myself in that pool, that
you are educated. You're highly educated. Most
that we
definitely.
are,
Yeah.
but we fall prey to online scams.
I mean, look,
and that's what I would have to say.
Education, first of all, let me get a real clear thought out here. What I believe, a degree does not make you a intelligent person.
Absolutely, no. You missed what I'm saying.
No.
The same thing.
No, we're not. Let me say what I'm saying.
Well, say what you're saying.
Having a degree does not make you all of a sudden. No, you're literate because you can pass and get a degree.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you this intelligent, thoughtful, introspective person. It does not make you that. It makes you someone. It gives us proof, others, that you are someone who can regurgitate information to a point that is acceptable to give you your degree. That is what I believe.
Okay.
You are capable of forming a certain, kind of thought within a certain frame, and it's acceptable. And then, okay, this person has grasped what we told them, and they can go ahead and go forth and use this information to do whatever.
But you're missing what I'm saying. What I'm saying, or what I said.
You're cutting me off, and let me see what I'm saying.
What I said
go
is,
ahead.
Okay, what I said is, I said it appears, and not that I necessarily did the statistical background, but what I believe that, because you talked about education, and I said it appears that a lot of women and men who have gotten bamboozled using these online sites were individuals who were, could fall into the category of being highly educated, but did not have the basic skill sets to decipher good from evil. And so we were on the same page, but you didn't let me finish that.
Well, what we all say is common sense is not common. You cannot be taught common sense in anyone's secondary school or university. That's not something that you can be taught.
So I was tying that into.
Mm-hmm.
See, we were saying the same thing, but
okay.
you didn't hear me out.
Speak it, girl. Speak your truth.
What I was saying, that you're absolutely correct in that education is not.
Girl.
Education is not necessarily while it should be a precursor.
Jasmine, how you doing?
It is not a definitive measure, and having common sense on knowing how to pick someone out from an online site.
I mean, right. That's what I'm saying. That's situations. Being educated has nothing. You brought that point up, and I'm just saying that being educated has nothing to do with being foolish in the sense of looking for love.
Absolutely,
but the assumption, apples and sharks.
The assumption oftentimes is that people have the perception that you will often hear this. People say this. Oh, well, she's so intelligent, or she's so, why did she get herself in that situation? Because one has nothing to do with the other in that regard.
Also, too, the information or intellect, kinds of intellect. You have emotional, you have, just your overall kind of thing. You have specific.
You're innate.
Like I said, it's common sense.
Absolutely.
And, not to fault people who do end up being bamboozled. If you get tricked or treated out of some type of love or whatever in any affair, it's not necessarily to say it's always your fault, because it's not always your fault. Some people are really good master manipulators.
Hey,
some people are really good liars. Some people do anything they can to be destructive and destroy people who they see as a target.
Absolutely.
That person has everything together.
Absolutely.
But they're lacking in
common sense,
confidence or common sense, and I'm going to come in and destroy them and bring them my misery along, to their life. That happens.
Absolutely.
But that all goes back to any individual living today who is online on any particular dating site. You need to make sure that the person that you're meeting up with, and certain things you can only assess face to face with this individual. You can't assess everything.
Well, you know what? I have a
online.
Set of rules. So I have a set of rules. I'm glad that I don't longer have to utilize any online sites. Me and my baby, we're doing really good. I thought I'd put it out there. So we're doing really good.
You tell us every week.
I know.
Ow.
Because you know how much money I spent on online sites? I'm just being honest.
I've never spent them. Get Green better hit up the free joint. The free joint. Plenty of fish for free. Okay.
I'm okay. I don't want plenty
Well,
of
don't hit
fish.
it up now because you're happy. But I'm saying if you're
Oh,
not,
okay.
look, I just never had these issues. I've met one guy, and he was saying how if it didn't work with me, that he was not gonna ever deal with black women again, and he was black. And I was like, what? I'm like, so then that got into a bigger situation because I was like, wait, I come across it a lot where there's a bunch of younger black guys saying they're gonna deal with black women because of this and this and that. And
Those are issues. Those are
I'm like,
issues
well,
that.
sir, that attitude is an issue in itself, and that got something to do with you. I don't know what you've been through or who you've been dealing with, but that's on you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you listening and tuning
What are
in,
the dangers, though? Oh, well, go ahead.
what let's be honest. How many of you out there listening now in Facebook land and
I
or
agree with that, baby.
Alexa, Spreaker,
Alexa,
yeah,
that is not.
you're gonna call Alexa to call Match.com. I'm sorry, you're gonna use Alexa to call Match.com.
Call
Right.
my boo.
But anyways, getting back to what I am trying to express. The comedian over here right tonight.
No.
So in any regard, how many of you out there have used or met someone online? You don't have to speak at once, but in all honesty, I think so often people are so afraid to talk about these real issues. And I know quite a few women that have utilized the online dating sites in attempts to find love. And I want to say that maybe 3 or 4 out of them were very successful. Everyone else did not have that same story to tell.
But that's the thing. That's with any kind of date. You're gonna meet some, crumbs and bums. You're gonna meet some frogs, and you might meet your prince. That's the whole point. You want to meet that one prince that takes you off the market forever, and that's what it is. And you get married, and whoop you do. That's the goal.
So people are still living in fairy tales.
I mean,
is it a fairy tale?
Is it a fairy tale? Who doesn't want the dream of a happy, long marriage?
Well, you know what?
I mean, there are people who don't want that type of commitment. There are people who are non-committal. That's that.
Absolutely.
But who doesn't want to be, for all of us who are looking for a significant other, who doesn't want to have that fairy tale existence? Everyone wants that.
Well, I will honestly say that I guess because my life is such that I was always, encountered real life situations I had to worry about and dream off and focus on fairy tales.
Sure, you didn't.
However, and I think for me, because of my experiences previously, that sometimes when we've had bad experiences, it makes us so hardcore that even if someone is coming from a place of sincerity, we're so broken and hurt that we can't see through the good of the person because we're seeing them through our own experiences.
I mean, well, that's a different issue. That's apart from online dating or anything like that. That's just a specific issue regarding individuals.
Well, I mean, but it ties into the type of individual that you are or you present yourself to be when you're online. And that also gives rise to the type of person that you may be attracted to. Now, what does Angie, she said it's a lot of activity and interaction online, but nothing of substance for me. Wow. So she said that there's a lot of activity, meaning there's a lot of, I'm texting you, you're inboxing me, but it's of nothing of great substance.
I mean, like I said, once again, all these things go into, basic levels of life. You're going to find people who are not interesting to you or anything like that. In the sense of online dating, like I said, there's a method to it. You have to have your profile. You have to think about the person that you're trying to attract.
Absolutely.
Okay. If you have your online presence and you are such as an individual who, is uncouth and unpleasant and things of that nature online, you're going to get the same thing. You shouldn't expect any more than that.
Absolutely.
You should put yourself out there.
So
to attract, water meets its own level. You should put yourself out there to attract what you're trying to get. It's that simple. So
the law of attraction, basically.
No, the law of attraction is basically, you wishing and hoping and being like, hey, this is going to happen. That's the law of attraction. And you convince yourself that this is going to happen. So you subconsciously convince yourself to do things that'll make that thing happen. That's what law of attraction is. This is a different sort of law of attraction in the sense that you have to put yourself out there to attract what you're trying to get. And in that scenario, majority of people, not majority, but a lot of people put themselves out there in a sense to try to attract somebody who they would like, but that's not who they really are.
Now, Angie says, she says that she's old school and she prefers meeting an individual in the traditional sense. So
I don't.
Wow, that's interesting. Now you prefer to
Drama.
So you prefer to your method.
My
If
method
you
is
had
if
to
I
meet
was
someone,
single, my
if you were
preferred
single,
dating
your preferred
thing
dating
is
would
to be.
you? That is really interesting. I find it to be a waste of time for me.
Why? Like,
I
why
think
is it a waste of time?
I
If you
think it's
find somebody,
I think it's a waste of time.
oh no,
I
she
think
said she missed old school connections. Nah, that I understand.
right.
But being that I grew up in the social media age, I mean, I had a MySpace since I was like 10 or 12. I don't know how old. I had a cell phone since I was 11 years old or whatever. So it's been a different, I grew up in the social media era. So,
I found out for me in utilizing these various apps, I found out that these, uh, founders and or creators of these social media, they were just making money.
Not necessarily. Because like I said, there's a factor of convenience. If you, look, I don't give nobody no excuses. If you're a fool in real life, you're going to be a fool online too. It's not going to change a simple thing, a single thing, the fact of the method of communication that you're using. If you can't communicate in real life, you can't communicate online. Okay. The thing is.
Now, Angie says, talk all day, waste time. And then when you meet and realize that there was nothing in
no
common.
Connection.
There was no connection.
But that's the thing about it. The people who I met. Now, I had one situation where I met a guy and attractive, wealthy, everything that I was looking for. And he could have been a mentor to my situation for my career. There was a large disconnect. We were on the phone a lot and we laughed and, talked and joked and everything like that. But there was a disconnect.
And what was the purpose of a disconnect, or how did you recognize that there was a disconnect?
Well, everything on the surface, a lot of things, actually, there are a lot of things on the surface and a lot of things underneath that we both agreed on. And we both were like, hey, this is cool. But, on the fundamental things such as, child rearing or if I would say a particular statement about,
politics,
anything.
Absolutely.
And you, rather than directly answer or respond, you kind of glaze it over and laugh at it or whatever. You're not forthcoming. You have to pay attention to those signs of a person. And so when we finally did, get together and meet up and have lunch and all that good stuff.
Okay.
We realized instantly that there was no connection, but I knew it before I even met him. I was like, this is not going to go anywhere. I knew that, you have to be like, this ain't really what I want. You know what? You know what you want. You know what you need. And you can tell in the first 2, 3, 4 conversations, unless y'all talking about a bunch of hoopla and crap, that this person is not on the same level you on. You cannot sit here and pretend with yourself that this is going to somehow go away or that some person's going to magically become who I'm expecting them to be when they're showing you who they are in the messages and the correspondence. You're going to find that it's easy.
And it's really interesting that the more and more that, after my experiences of not being successful in terms of online dating, I just said, hey, I'll have to meet a person in a traditional sense. And I can honestly say that has worked for me because I want to be in your presence. I don't want to have this idea of what you might be like or what you might look like. I want to see you in person. I want to be able to look into your eyes.
Hey, OG.
Hey, OG. I want to be able to look into your eyes because I'm going to go, this is going to be way out to you, right?
Oh, Lord. Let's see what.
So this is going to be way out, but dig this.
Mm-hmm.
If you got, and this is just my own preference, right? But if you have like beady eyes, I don't trust you, right? me, if a person has beady eyes,
That well, you're gonna unless
mean,
they
I knew that's
photoshopping extra hard.
I told
Unless they're
you.
photoshopping a face tuning, you're gonna know they got some beady eyes. You can avoid that anyway.
Right. So anyway, what I'm saying to you.
But I agree though. If you got beady eyes, you look like a lizard. I'm gonna think you was.
So you have your ectomorph and your endomorph and your mesomorph, and depending on how.
Are we some marine biologists now? Because I don't know what you're talking about. All I know,
basically,
what?
A lot of times,
Uh-huh.
based on how you're built,
yeah,
okay, it gives rise to the type of character, the type of things that you will and won't do, believe it or not, based on how your body type.
What?
Yes,
okay, so now we should be.
Yes.
So what?
Yes.
Now see, you're going into a whole different level of classification, because if it's like he's stocky and I don't really expound.
Okay, so what I'm saying to you, for me, for example, if a person does not walk with, for me, they don't stand upright and they don't, walk with a sense of confidence, and they slump their shoulders and they don't make direct eye contact. A lot of these things you can't determine if you're dating online. But if you see them in person, hey, I want to meet. Because then if I meet you, I can make an assessment within 30 seconds.
Well, if you meet them on person, you've already met.
Online?
No, you said you want to assess things in person.
I want to assess the individual in person. And so based on
that takes out the whole steps of what we need to do before we meet that person. You're not going to find out he has slumpy shoulders until you meet him. The question is, how do we find out that he is lacking confidence and he has slumpy shoulders? Even though he got that one pic that looked good, right? He got slumpy shoulders and he walk around like Eeyore all day. How do we determine that from a conversation on the phone? We have a photo.
So what I'm saying is the inflection. Okay,
let me tell you guys, because she got questions too. See, OG, we on the same page. No, my thing is, first of all, if you're going to meet somebody online, the body language thing you do to avoid being catfished, give me a Skype conversation. I want to talk to you on a video message. I don't want to keep talking on the phone. I've been talking on the phone since before we had Wi-Fi and all that stuff. Dude, we got new technology. I'm going to need you to use that. And I'm going to need you to use that to show me your face so I can see when we're discussing your mannerisms and your facial expressions, things like that.
Well, what I'm saying is, respective to online dating, a lot of these things you cannot make that assessment through online dating. Even if a person, even if we are,
if you decide to do a video call, you can assess a lot of things.
If
because
we're doing
it's
a
just
video
like
call,
them.
okay, listen. Even if we're doing a video call, a lot of times what people do, they just put their this part up, okay, from the shoulders up. They're not
from the shoulders up. I can still see their shoulders. They not on par with your neck.
So with that being said, the person is still trying to project if there's something that they're not. I prefer the old-fashioned way of meeting, at Starbucks, or meeting at a public place where I can have a conversation with you. Because
is this after you've met the person online and you made a connection, or is this like with a random person? Because this is two different.
This is just my preference for meeting anyone. I don't care for the online dating.
You meet a person organically on the street, and you're like, "Hey, let's go ahead and talk to you at Starbucks. Let's have a coffee."
Absolutely.
Date. All right, no difference here. And at that point, this is what I'm saying.
Online is a difference.
It's not, because what I'm saying is that Skype conversation or that Google Duo or whatever it might be, that is FaceTime. That is your opportunity to see this person and how they organically react to things that you're saying. On the phone, you can only assume, and if you are in that fairy tale world, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, well, that kind of thing.
So let me tell you.
Visual cues give you so much more information. Body language is 80% of communication.
But listen to what I'm saying to you. It's not just about visual cues.
Mm-hmm.
You can assess a person by the inflection of their voice.
Right, but
so a person, when they speak, there are certain things that people can say and not say, and oftentimes it's not what they're saying, but it's what they've not said. And so
that's why you make the visual,
and
so
you can make
on the body language.
An assessment. Like, so often, like, take for example, person texts me And the individual said, no, no, I think so. Let me correct myself. We had actually met in person.
Mm-hmm.
And the individual said, they asked me something respective to, well, do you want to hang out? You text me about some red shoes or something,
What?
alluding to the fact that this is probably what you want, something materialistic. I said, I never text you about any red shoes. That's the wrong person.
I'm I'm pretty sure
So the
that we're
date was
all
over with.
lost.
So that date was over. That date was over
I
with.
don't understand what you just said.
Okay, what I'm saying
What does
is,
the red shoes have to do
listen.
with the person?
So what I'm saying is, I'm talking
Just
about in terms of meeting a person
hmm
versus online. I don't think that they are the same. They're different. I
No,
want
it's
to
very different. But what I'm saying is to get that feel of meeting someone organically before, because you do take an extra step of danger or whatever if you meet someone online and you just decide to meet up with them, at
randomly.
a place
Absolutely.
publicly.
Okay.
Before you do that, the first step should be, after you've done your due diligence, you're like, okay, fine, I'll finally give this person my number. I'll give this person my information. We can actually correspond aside from the app or the dating, mechanism or whatever it is. Before I do all that, I'm going to research you. Once I do that, now it's time that I feel like, okay, we get along. We might have something going here. Let's have a conversation visually. Let's have a visual video conversation, so that way I can pick up on your facial cues. I can pick up on your body language. And I can see, you know, past the inflection on or your tonation on the phone call. I'm looking for all these things together combined, and then I want to see what you smell like.
Okay, well,
Cologne,
we jumped from okay. Wow.
or if you must see.
Wow. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, we wanted to come on here because we got a lot of feedback on last week concerning the subject matter of online dating, seeking an alternative ways of finding love.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a lot of feedback saying, hey, this is a wonderful subject. Each and every week we try to bring topics of discussion that are very relevant
This is
and
definitely relevant
and
for
that are
sure.
not, because there's so much out there that we could be talking about, but to me it has no at least it has no space,
Substance
it
or
has no substance.
value.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to talk about, you and I, we try to talk about subject matters that really matter to people. And so we all have our own perception in terms of what we believe the pros and cons are to online dating. However, I will advise anyone seeking to find love and or friendship that you're looking for using an online app is time. Time is the greatest determinant or predictor of a person's personality. And so often
That's true. That
using
is true. I
these
agree with that.
social media
100%. For
sites,
sure.
we don't allow time because in a rush. And so with that being said, give me your final thoughts concerning the pros and cons, and what is your advice to millennials?
All right. So a lot of us, we do the Snapchat thing. We do, social media. I've met so many people, and I'm
We
not a
got to
big
wrap.
social media person, but they're like, what's your Instagram? What's your Facebook? What's your this? What's your that? That is a major means to find out who a person is. But you also have to realize that that person, because we are in the clout generation where you're doing things for recognition, that doesn't necessarily represent who a person is.
Okay, so what would
So
be your advice? Because we got
my
to wrap this up.
advice, straightforward, like I've been saying the entire duration of the program today. If you meet someone online, I want to speak to you right now. I don't want you to wait till tomorrow. I want to speak to you right now while we're talking and while we're discussing. Hey, let's figure out each other.
Okay.
Let's talk right now at this moment. I want to see you, makeup, no makeup, fly looking fly, not fly. Like I want to talk to you right now in your organic environment and see who you really are right now where you are.
Okay.
No time for charades.
Okay. And so for anyone listening and or viewing us Facebook Live, Instagram, Spreaker, any other mediums that are being utilized on this evening, ask yourself, if you are seeking love and you're in an environment that is all about, everything's about time, instant, it has to be instant, like instant coffee.
Instantaneous gratification. For
Ask
sure.
yourself, ask yourself, in the long haul, is it worth it? You have to do your homework and stop you have common sense, and that internal feeling will usually be your best guide of whether you should pursue this or not, respective to online dating. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you each and every week for tuning into Side Streets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. And if you're looking for an opportunity to host your own show here at IntellectualRadio.com, please do not hesitate to call 708-223-8953. And just as a reminder, we are an iHeart radio station, so please feel free to download the app, Side Streets and Intersections on IntellectualRadio.com. And yes, it is about that time for Side Streets and Intersections to celebrate you. So in the coming weeks, I will be collaborating and getting together. We're going to have a special location, and we're going to have a nice little party for our listeners and our viewers. And we'd love for you. We'll inbox you. If we inbox you, we want you. We can't have everybody here. So
our regular listeners, the people who
Yes.
have been so supportive, we really appreciate you. Even guys who come in and out, we totally appreciate you guys for helping us
Absolutely.
be here and make this happen. For our, major listeners, guys who contribute and everything of that nature, we do want to show you some sort of appreciation. So in the next upcoming weeks or months, we will have something for you guys, such as, gifting, but more so it'll more likely
actually,
be like a party or something like that.
It's going to be a party. And hey, Cozy, how are you doing? It's going to be a party, and we're going to have you come down to hey, Chris, we're going to have you come down, and the food and drinks will be on us, and we just want you to come out, get a chance to really talk to myself and my co-host, and also my daughter.
Yes, there's
And
3 of us.
I know, right? And so once again, we thank you each and every week that you tune in, because without you, there is no us.
Definitely.
Once again, on that note, we want to say we don't catch feelings, we catch flights.
Catch a flight. Have a good night. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah.